All right. So welcome, everybody. Glad that you joined us today. Today's webinar is going to be on, well, the title is the D1 Life Right for Me? And the goal today is to talk more about just the different levels of play and some of the differences, yet some of the also similarities through the different levels: Division I, Division II, NAIA, Division III, junior college. So there's multiple levels out there for you to play at. All over the country, and we won't be touching on that too much today, but we are going to talk a lot about Taylor's experience and mine a little bit as well. And so let's move forward here. My name is Jason French. I'm a proud team member here at field level. I've been a high school football coach for many years. I do private quarterback training, work nationwide for some quarterback training companies, and also get to do some speaking for USA Football around the West Coast, which is a lot of fun. Taylor here is also is my coworker, friend of mine, and also a former Division I baseball player, and just an all-around great guy. So today's run of show for today is we're going to talk about just what kind of privilege it is to play at the college level. We'll talk a little bit about Taylor, about his experience. I'll interview him a little bit. From there, we'll go into some of the experience that I had, some of the things that match up with him, as I was a small college football player, not only in stature but also the size of the school. I'm a normal sized guy, and I'll recap what we've talked about so far. We'll start giving you guys some advice on what you guys can do to move forward as you guys are moving forward. I know many of you are either parents or athletes on here today, but what you guys can do to move forward in your recruiting process. Then we'll open it up for questions and answers. Shoot questions at either one of us or just about field level in general, and then we'll close it out. So I'll start off by talking about just what kind of privilege it is to play college sports. We'll dive into Taylor's past, but I played for a little bit, and what an honor it was to play. And you wouldn't know it by maybe watching TV or anything like that, but it is a small percentage of athletes move on from high school to college. And some interesting stats that I came across this week, and I knew this for football because I'm a football coach, but in baseball, only 7.3% of athletes from high school move on to play at the college level, and that's all college levels combined. 7.1% for football, women's volleyball 3.9%, and softball 5.5%. I've got the statistics for the other sports that we serve, but I figured I wanted to go two guys, two girls sports. So it is hard to play at the next level. It is not as if, just because you want to, it'll happen. There definitely has to be a skill set involved. You have to have a certain level of athleticism to play at these levels. So that is good stuff for you to know as you guys are moving forward in your recruiting process. Again, I'll unpack more of this stuff with Taylor asking these questions. But things that I want to touch on about the overall just privilege of playing at the college level, and that obviously it's great to play more ball, but the things that happen when playing college sports is you're going to create lifelong friendships. You're going to create lifelong future connections. We'll talk about that with Taylor later. Obviously, you're going to get a great education. You should be focusing on an institution that's going to give you a great academic environment and provide you great education for your future. And then also, in my own experience as an athlete, my friends, and also all the athletes that I've coached over the years that have moved on to play college ball. I mean, I've got friends that have played for national championship programs from various sports to Division I level all the way down to the smaller levels of college sports, and none of them regret one moment playing college sports. They all loved it. They all thought it was an honor to be a part of that like prestigious group of people that get to go on and play college athletics. So it's a great honor to do that, and we're happy to be at field level a tool for your coaches to help you, the athletes, or your parents that have athletes, find those opportunities to play. So with that said, ready to dig in? Sure. Okay. Spotlight's now on Taylor, and so I'm going to go through some questions here with Taylor, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I've enjoyed getting to know more about Taylor through these questions, and I think you guys are going to benefit from them as well. So, Taylor played multiple sports growing up, and he was pretty good at all of them, I'm assuming. I know he was pretty darn good at two of them, and I'll probably mention that in a minute here. But Taylor, during your time as an athlete growing up, and then as you're getting into high school, when did it hit you? Shoot, I'm pretty darn good at these sports. I think I could play collegiately. And what time in your life did you realize I'm good? I can definitely go to the next level.
I think the first time I realized that I had a chance if I kept working was freshman year of high school. I started varsity soccer as a freshman. Sophomore year for baseball, I started as a sophomore. And that was the first time when I thought that I could actually possibly play in college. Again, I knew that there were people better than me. I knew people older than me were getting opportunities, but that was really the first time where I thought that this is something I might be able to do.
Now, as you were in high school and realizing you could play at the college level, did you have any concept that there were different levels of play? Division I, Division II, NAIA, Division III. Like, what was your awareness of that?
Early on, just from watching sports on TV, you were focused on D1, so I don't think I had a really good understanding. My older sister played volleyball in college, and she was being recruited by a lot of D1 schools. So at first, I don't think I had a really good understanding of each level. What is D2? What is D3? I didn't know anything really about junior college, and I would learn about that later. But early in high school, I wasn't really focused on that.
Great. Real quick, I see that I got a question here. We're going to leave the questions for later. We're going to do that at the end of this broadcast. So, Mr. Liu, Mr. and Mrs. Liu, I see that you've posted something. We will get to that question. We're going to get through the interview portion first. So, you talked about not really knowing much about the different levels of play growing up, because what he saw on TV is what he basically knew about. When you started, how did you start putting together? So you realized, let me backtrack. You realized that you pretty darn good at these sports, and you played soccer and baseball. Pretty darn good at baseball. You started realizing you want to play at the college level, and you can. How did you start putting together a list of schools that you'd be interested in attending or playing ball
for? Early on, my parents went to UCLA. I had a bunch of family and friends that went to USC. My sister, again, was being recruited to play various sports, so I started looking at those schools, more closely, just mental checklists. She would go visit them, come back and say what she liked and didn't like about them. So I'd just say early on, it was really just my experiences from family or friends. And then as you started attending, camps or showcases or something like that, you would start seeing college coaches in the stands, seeing their logos, and then you would go home and start researching that. So it started pretty broad, and you would slowly just whittle it down through your time in high school.
Now, you mentioned your sister briefly. She was a major recruit as a volleyball player. How did watching her recruiting process impact you when you were in high school thinking about moving to the next level?
It wasn't anything I really considered at first, and then watching how much attention she got, how much work she had to do to both train and then also preparing to talk to a college coach on the phone or going and taking a visit, watching my parents help her. That was just instrumental in having me understand what it actually took to play or to get recruited. She got, something with 60 D1 scholarship opportunities or something crazy. And so just seeing that also kind of fueled this fire that whether you wanted to compete with your sibling or you just wanted to be able to do something like that, it was a great opportunity just to watch her go through it.
So is your sister the best athlete in the family?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I bet she's got a pretty solid vertical. She's getting recruited by 60 different schools in the country as a volleyball player. All right, so he's told me about his baseball coach in the past. And so Coach Grant, right? So Coach Grant was his baseball coach in high school. What kind of impact, and again, at field level, we center everything around the coach. We think the coach is the most important part of this whole role here. So how did Coach Grant help you in this process?
He was an incredible influence on me. Originally, it just started with him encouraging us to do extra work, ground balls, fly balls, hitting. He was always there for us to do work after school. Then it turned into just having conversations about if we wanted to possibly go play in college. He would talk to us about who he knew, what doors he could open. Eventually it turned into honest conversations about what we needed to do to improve, what level we could play now. And then what areas of our game they had to work on. And then he was just willing to get on the phone, respond to college coaches, take us anywhere. I mean, he was an incredible influence on my life. So he was everything he wanted in a coach.
That's great. Maybe if Coach Grant's watching, good job, Coach Grant. So I'm a coach. I'm dealing with high school kids all the time. And for those of you who are parents that are watching today, you guys are all going to probably like do an agreeing nod or an eye roll or something right now. But all these kids think that they know that they got it all figured out, right? They don't need any help. They know what's going on more than you do. But what we know here, well, I know as a coach, what we know at field level here is that parents are extremely important in this process. And whether they're keeping kids motivated or just on task or organized, whatever it is, they're a very important role in the process. I know that you've got a great family. What was your parents' impact on you guys in the recruiting? Well, both you and your sister in the recruiting process.
They were instrumental in it. They went through a lot with my older sister. I don't think that they knew everything that they were doing early on, so I was the second time around. They had a much better understanding of what to do. You're also a teenager, you're 15, 16, 17, 18, you're emotional, you're going through puberty, or there are times when you just want to go hang out with your friends, and they would say, okay, that's fine, but you might be sacrificing an opportunity to go play in college or get a scholarship. It's up to you, but they would really keep you on task and push you when you needed it. They were there for you when you were having a difficult time. They were great influences, again, on me in the whole process.
So what Taylor probably won't do is brag about himself, so I'll do it for him. First of all, he's in like a sunken chair. He's like 6'4", big dude, great athlete in high school, had lots of Division I offers. You know, again, he's humble. You know, he had, you know, Ivy League schools after him. He had Big 12 schools after him, other Pac-12 schools after him. But he ended up through his recruiting process deciding on going to the University of California, Berkeley. So for those of you guys know, it's Cal. Why did you ultimately decide to go to Cal?
Again, my older sister played at Cal, so I got some opportunities to go visit with her. I took an unofficial visit to go up there. I fell in love with the campus. I knew it was a great school. I really wanted to get a good education. It was on the West Coast, so it was somewhat close to home, not too far away. Again, D1 baseball. And then ultimately some of my guys I played with or against started committing there. And I just knew we'd have a really good team. And just slowly but surely it just seemed like the perfect home away from home.
Awesome. Not too far away from home, right?
No.
Yeah, just
600 miles.
It's a long time. It's a long ways. It's a long drive.
You're driving.
Yeah, you're driving. All right, so Taylor's now decided on Cal. All right, he's moving up. He's moving up 600 miles north from Los Angeles to the Bay Area, and he's graduated high school. He's packed his bags. Freshman year, going to Cal, and you know, baseball, as a baseball athlete, your season is in the spring, and you start school in the fall. So that would mean it's like off season, right? Like, you know, there's probably not much to do during the off season. I'm sure they give you a lot of time to, you know, get acclimated to the academic rigors and meet new friends.
That's what I thought.
That's what you thought.
That's what I thought.
What really happened when you got to school?
The first day we got there, we had a meeting, 50 guys come into the locker room, and they laid out our lifting and conditioning schedule. We had small group practices when we were going to start full group practices. They told you to make sure your classes were all set. You had mandatory study hall, which I didn't know you actually were going to get. And then they said, all right, get your gear on. We're going to go lift right now. And after that meeting, 5 people immediately quit. And you could just tell that it was a different level than high school. It was just a different understanding. You don't have your parents around. You don't have your family around. It's really you, and it's time to grow up a little bit.
All right, so that was his first semester in high school. First semester in college. It's a grind. That's his off season, and now you know you've gotten through your off season. You're now jumping into season. You probably had, you know, a small portion of a, you know, many people have like a two week to a month long, you know, winter Christmas break or whatever the case may be. I'm guessing, did you get much of that?
I got about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I had to be back January 6th. I think my last final was December 18th. Most people didn't come back till end of January. And you had to come back, and it was conditioning, weightlifting, and practice. We would do double headers a ton leading up, and that was all before the season. I think we ended up counting, we played close to 40 games even before the season started, just in January and February.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was not easy.
Okay.
It was very difficult.
And then what was the actual, so we've gone through your first semester of, out of season, off season. You come back, now you have to do like a preseason, 40-game preseason to get ready for actual season. So now what is the actual season like?
A lot of travel. Games were Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You had practice. Your day off was supposed to be Monday, but you probably had weights that day. Wednesday and Thursday you had practice, and Friday you were traveling. A lot of buses, a lot of planes. You had to be responsible for your own bag, your own equipment, and then you're responsible for one piece of equipment for the team, so a bucket of balls or a net, fungos, something like that. You're taking midterms on airplanes, you're studying on buses. It's intense. You have to be organized.
Yeah. So we've gone through off season, the kind of preseason, your actual season. You got weights, you got meetings, you got study hall, you got games. You're traveling all over the West Coast, and sometimes probably into like Middle America as well. To talk about Texas,
North Carolina.
They're getting close to the East Coast there. School's finally done. Season's over. Your freshman year is done. Break time, right?
That's what I thought.
Uh-huh.
In baseball, you play summer ball, and after freshman year, I got like 2 weeks at home, and then I flew to Texas and played another 40 or 60 games. You come home in the middle of August, and in 2 weeks, you're back at Cal. There was no breaks. There were absolutely no breaks.
And then, so you're a smart guy. You're probably figured out the learning curve pretty quickly. So did it get easier for you as you got older? Sophomore year, junior year, senior year?
It does get easier because you understand, you have the expectations, our coaches want of you. You start maturing a little bit. You want to be a leader. You want more playing time. But you still have the days and the hours and the time you have to put into it. So I think the expectations are easier. It does feel easier, but you're still working just as hard.
All right. So without going into the long, detailed story of it, Taylor finished, first of all, I said he's a smart guy, and he kind of rolled his eyes at me, but he finished college at Cal, which is one of the most prestigious academic public institutions in the country, in 4 years, which is hard to do. And he had 1 year left of eligibility because he was a redshirt his freshman year.
Yeah.
And so he decided to transfer to the University of Southern California. So came back down south to a USC. Once you got to SC, was there much of a difference in the time requirements, the different things that you were doing, when it came to scholastically? What was the change, or was there any change at all?
There wasn't much change. There's still a ton of demand. USC has an incredible baseball program, a bunch of national championships. There's, Hall of Famers on the wall. There's, besides the colors and the jersey, there's still all of the demand. I was in grad school when I played there, so all my classes were at night, so you had to do a ton of your work early on. But same time requirements, buses, planes, studying. It was the same thing. It was just in a different location.
I didn't ask you this in the first one. Did you guys play Cal your year that you were there, and how'd that go?
I think we either swept them or took 2 out of 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So now Taylor is, he's years removed from playing ball. I know we both look really young, but we're both many years removed from playing ball in college. You've been working for field level now for roughly 8 years. So he's got a lot of experience, not only, as a recruited athlete, played ball in college, but now he's working for a company that is centered around helping athletes and coaches find those opportunities. What would you tell, with all of your knowledge now, what would you tell younger you, and what would you tell people watching today about what you would do differently, or some advice?
I didn't take all of my official visits. either made it an excuse or didn't create enough time to go do it, and I wish I had. I believe you get 5 visits now, and you should definitely take them. You need to understand what life is like at the school, what the campus is like, weather, teachers. You should just do it if you can. And I didn't get a chance to do that. I took a number of unofficial visits, but you know, it's
To small schools like Harvard.
to some schools like that, Stanford. But you should go do it, especially if the school is paying for it,
Yeah.
and you know, you get all this attention. You get to really feel what it's like to go there. So I wish I had done that. I wish I had asked more questions to the college coaches recruiting me, which I think we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
But that was something else that I wish I had done. I did a lot of listening instead of trying to see if it was the perfect fit for me.
Now, we've talked a bunch about playing ball and what it was like to play sports at the college level. But what are like some of the things that, you know, wouldn't call them intangibles, but I don't know, the other benefits, the side benefits of being a college athlete. You know, what kind of things did that bring? What kind of things did being a college baseball player bring to your life?
Tons of friends. You have lifelong friends. You talked about earlier. Not only just on the baseball team, people you talk to all the time. You know, just from playing sports, you have friends that played other sports. Again, they're just your closest friends. You're going to have them for the rest of your life. The education you get is just incredible. The ability to have sports be a vehicle to have you, you know, get an education. You do make connections, networking. You know, I met Brendan from going to USC. And there are just so many things that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't played sports in college. So it's an incredible opportunity to be able to have.
For those of you that maybe didn't catch it, he said that he met Brenton. So Brenton Sullivan is our CEO and one of the founders of our company. And Brenton played baseball at USC, and then he was the director of baseball operations at USC. And he was the director of baseball operations when Taylor came on board as a grad student transfer. And so he met Brenton, who's our CEO, through that process, through baseball, and now they've been working together for 8 years. So I mean, that's one out of, I can name tons of friends that I've made and connections I've made through sports, or through connections that other friends have made through other friends in sports that have helped them find jobs or friendships or significant others and all these things. So the connections and the relationships that you build through playing at the next level is invaluable. I mean, you can't put a dollar amount on it. So, Taylor, man, thanks a lot for answering all those questions.
Absolutely.
So, real quick, as I'm moving forward in today's broadcast, so we talked a lot about the Division I side, what all the things and requirements that took place for him. But as a football coach and also as a former football athlete at the college level, and also before today's webinar, I decided to text some of my former athletes and other athletes from other sports throughout the years that I was working in high schools and coaching full time. I wanted to hear about their schedules because I know what my schedule is like, but I wanted to see if some things had changed, and it really hasn't. He played Division I baseball. I played Division III football, and so the athletes that I talked to played Division III, Division II, Division I level sports as well, and it's pretty much the same darn thing, man. And it is meetings. I mean, for a football guy, we had position meetings, we had full offensive meetings, we had special teams meetings, we had practice, we had film, we had weights, we had study hall, we had travel. So we had all these things as well at the Division III level. So just if you think that you're a Division II, III, NAIA level athlete, you think it's going to be easier? It's not. It's still a pretty intense situation for you when you go on to play college sports. It's a great thing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And again, like I said earlier, I don't think anybody that I know would trade that experience for the world. But it is going to be tough. And so I want to make sure that that is expressed here as well, that playing college sports is kind of like having a job, but thankfully it's a job that you love because you love the sport. So now we've kind of gone through the honor it is to be a part of a college level program. We talked to Taylor about his experience. I kind of brought in there as well that it's going to be difficult at the Division II, Division III, NAIA level as well. So we've kind of gone through those things. Want to just touch on some brief things that you guys can do, some action steps you guys can do moving forward after hearing us today. First is talk with your coach. Again, Field Level is a platform that is centered around the high school and club coach being the best resource for the athletes to find opportunities to play in college. So meet with your coach about your goals and what level of play that they believe you can be at. So everyone is on the same page. Next, meet as a family. We talked about Taylor and his family going through the process. Meet with your family. Sit down with your family. Talk about where you want to play, not just a school. You might see a school on TV and say, I want to go play at the University of X or the, blah, blah, blah college. That's great and all, but you also want to learn about, where those places are geographically. Maybe you have family in other parts of the country that you want to live in. Maybe you don't want to live in the heat. Maybe you don't want to live in the cold. Maybe you don't want to live in dry heat or humidity, whatever it is. These are things that you want to think about, different kinds of cities. You want to be in a small city, big city, whatever that is. You want to talk to your family about those things. And so you guys are on the same page as well, also with finances. Next is keep your profile on Field Level up to date. Make sure that all the information on your profile is up to date, grades, your transcripts, your hobbies and interests, as silly as that sounds. Coaches want to see that kind of stuff to see what you're into, and they actually use it. They tell us. They use that information to strike up conversation with athletes. It's a great learning tool for them. Build out your target school list. We recommend that you have at least 20 on your target school list. You can move those around. You can add. You can delete. That's also a very impactful way to keep everyone on the same page as well, coaches, parents, and athletes. And then make sure you are adding film. A college coach cannot and will not recruit an athlete that they cannot watch play. Whether they've got to either see you in person, they've got to watch some film. Either way, they need to see you. Make sure you got film on your account. And then lastly, work hard in the classroom, and then make sure you're working hard in the field. And what I'm going to say along with the working hard in the field part is this. When you get to the college level, coaching is a little different, the coaching that you're going to receive. Okay, and he laughs, I laugh. I mean, the verbiage and the way in which the men and women at the college level coach athletes is a little different.
A little bit more intense.
A little bit more intense. They might use some more creative language. They might use different ways of motivating you. And so if your coach at the high school club level finds out that you want to play at that next level, and they may feel the need to push you in ways that you weren't pushed before, and instead of being bothered by that or offended by it, take it as motivation, thrive off that intensity to help propel you to that next level. And so that's my, oh, by the way, I talked about talking to your coach. We're going to have a specific detailed webinar next week on how to communicate with your coach when it comes to recruiting. So I highly recommend you guys to sign up for that webinar as well. We'll be sending out reminder emails, and you could also go to the original email you guys got regarding this, the full education series for this month, and you can go ahead and start. You can go ahead and sign up for that one as well. So I am now done with the presentation here. My man Taylor here did a great job in the interview. We are now opening it up to some questions. So I'm going to start with the one that came to us earlier. How to balance the academic and baseball training, practices, and games. How did you balance it?
Oh, man. You have to stay organized. Create a calendar. I'm old enough where it was a paper calendar, but you have Google Calendar now. You have stuff on your phone. Set alarms, set reminders. Even if it's not just for going to a game or a practice, it's time to go to sleep. Yeah, it's time to go eat. It's time to go study. Just having those reminders. Work with your teammates and your friends too. Get study groups together. Make sure that people are texting each other when something's going on. It's always good to put backup plans.
And also, I know as a former athlete that talk to your coach. Once your athlete makes his move to the college level, they all have some kind of an academic help for athletes. So whether Division I, Division whatever, they've got some kind of academic help for you. Make sure to have that conversation with their coach and let them know that you need some help at whatever area of study that it is, and they should be able to help find you somebody. All right, let's see what else we got here. Sorry, 1 second here. All right. Some D1 coaches sent emails inviting to their baseball camps. Are they seriously interested in the player?
It's a great question. A camp invite may or may not mean that they're actually interested in you specifically, but the best thing to do is to go talk to your coach and say, can I play at the D1 level? And see if you can actually reach out to those coaches to let them know that you're coming. Do your research to see who's actually going to be at the camp. Is it just that one particular college? Are there going to be 10 colleges there? Before you go spend money or lock yourself into something like that, talk to your coach, do some research, and then try to let the coaches know that you will be there because you're interested. Those are all check boxes that you can do before you start spending money on the camp or something like that.
Yeah, and I'll go with that as well. I know you said baseball, but overall answering other people that are here from other sports, there are some camps that are super helpful. Great coaching, great learning opportunity, but some of them are also just big money makers. So make sure that you are, like you said, talk to your coach to know, is this something that's going to be worth my time and money, or is this just a camp generating cash? And also, it's also good. Sometimes camps are just good to just go evaluate yourself to other people in your grade. So let's say you're a sophomore, you think you're a pretty good sophomore in your town. Go to these camps. You can go ahead and see what the players of other sophomore athletes that play your sport and position are able to do to kind of measure yourself. Because those are the athletes that you're going to be competing with for a future scholarship offer or a future financial aid package from a college or just a recruitment in general. All right. Is it realistic to pursue a career in medicine and still play D1, D2, or D3? I feel like we're getting the same questions.
Yeah.
We've had two webinars today, and they're the same back-to-back questions. Go for it.
It's completely realistic. You can do it. It may be a little bit more difficult if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to do something that's pretty intense or you need graduate school training to do. The most important thing is to go ask the college coaches wherever you think about going if it is realistic to do that. I remember I was telling Jason that I wanted to look into psychology, and then I realized that all of the classes were in the afternoon. Practice was always the afternoon. I could never be major in psychology. So I'm glad that I asked that question and looked into it. Just ask the college coaches. Just say, is this something that I can do? But it's completely realistic to be able to pursue a very difficult major like that.
What was your major?
Poli-sci.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, either way, none of them, no matter which one you did, it led you here.
Exactly.
Which is great. And then I also mentioned, I forgot to mention it a couple minutes back. I mentioned it in our first webinar. One of the other things you guys can also do is start building out a list of things that you want to ask coaches. Coaches are going to ask you a bunch of questions to learn about you to see if you're the right fit for their program. But it's equally as important that you are going to a school that's the right fit for you as a family, as an athlete. And so making a list of questions to ask these coaches. So if you're interested in a career in medicine, hey, coach, I want a career in medicine. Are the classes in the morning? Well, can I be able to knock all these classes out and still have time to play my respective sport? So again, have that be a part of the list of questions that you have for that school.
Absolutely.
You're welcome, Brian. Thanks for coming today. All right, anybody else? Any other questions?
We'll give you some time.
Yeah, we'll give you guys a minute. Furiously type out those questions.
All right. They can always,
Oh, that's right. So here's what I'm going to do, everybody. For those of you who may not want to ask the question here in a public forum, I'm going to give you guys our email address. Please feel free. Dylan, I'll get to you in a second as soon as I write this one out here. So here are our two email addresses. Feel free to use either one to contact one of us to ask us questions. Dylan, what if my son's coach isn't as engaged in the college process? Okay, so I'll take this one. We come across that, every now and then. Some coaches aren't as engaged. Some of them don't know, may not be engaged because they don't think it's their position, their job to do it. And then sometimes they don't know what to do. A lot of coaches that are in that portion of, gosh, I just don't know what to do. Once they find out about field level, they find a resource that helps them make their job easier in helping athletes out, and they start using us. So again, we've got our email addresses there, Dylan. Feel free to contact one of us. I'm more than willing to reach out to your son's coach and let them know about field level, encourage them to join and see what they can do to ultimately help their athletes, not just your son, but other athletes on his team as well, find opportunities to play at the next level. So yeah, we will definitely do our best to encourage him.
And Dylan, I would say this, that depending on the sport that your son plays, it doesn't just have to be the head coach. If it's any assistant coach on the team, if they play high school or club ball, if they have like a personal trainer or a skills coach that they work with, any sort of coach reference that can speak to their athletic ability, how much they're improving, can maybe talk about their leadership skills or character or family. Just anything that a college coach would look at and say this is helpful to understand your son's abilities, on and off the field or court. It doesn't just have to be the head coach. That's how I would approach it. But I would encourage you to reach out to Jason, and he can help you out.
Good question, Dylan. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Well, looks like some of you guys some of the viewers are starting to fall off, and they've had their their questions answered. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I appreciate your time, Taylor, and I appreciate everyone's here's time for joining us and learning more about the process and the differences between Division I and the other levels, or maybe some of the similarities. And we look forward to having you as part of our other webinars in the future. And if you have any questions, again, those are our email addresses, jfrench@fieldlevel.com or tgrigsby@fieldlevel.com as well. Have a good one, guys.